Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? This is Kyle and Mike from the Fantasy Phenom. We are back doing the show while Mike's alma mater is playing. Currently playing Virginia with the score almost tied, 28-26. Virginia's making a little bit of a comeback, Mike. I know you're a little worried right now.
Nope, as long as they keep making shots, they'll be all right in this press. But yeah, let's go UNCW, man. It's weird to say that because the entire time I was there, they were terrible. But two straight seasons into the tournament, so we got a good coach, and everybody trusts the system. We're getting some transfers. Things are looking up for the Hawks.
When was the last time they made the tournament?
Last year,
Okay.
they almost beat Duke.
Did they really?
Last year, yeah, which was a big deal because a lot of these players, their favorite team is Duke. I remember hearing them talk about that, but before that, it was a long time, man. I think it had been 2008 or 2006.
Gotcha. What you guys see open here is, of course, the NBA channel on Slack. We got our PGA channel going off today. Obviously, the FanDuel golf kicked off today. You can see quite a bit of conversation going on. Of course, NBA, hot topic. All this news coming out. Oh, man.
Yeah, people are just talking about picks. Probably since the late slate started about today.
Yeah, I mean,
you can always tell the people that are all their lineups are done.
I was gonna say
already because they start talking about tomorrow.
Once the Eric Bledsoe and Darren Collison news came out, people already started talking about today.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right, well, we got 6 games to cover today. For those of you, by the way, let me show real quick. I want to explain. We talked about the projections yesterday, about how they worked and what they look like. For those of you watching the video, I guess you'll get today's, and you'll kind of get to see, consider this your free preview if you're not a pro member. But this is kind of how it looks. So obviously it's broken down into a table: time, game, Vegas spread, our projected total, the plus minus, the pace differential, and combined pace. And then right here I have the key. And so if you need understanding of how any of this works, I've written it out exactly what each of these mean. So Juan, we will get that money back to you. I apologize about that.
Yeah, it just kind of depends on when you send it to me. If you send it to me this morning, yeah, I do apologize. I had a lot going on this morning.
But that's what that looks like. Juan, we'll get that back to you. Apologize for that, buddy. All right, man, we got 6 games to go through today. Brooklyn and New York are playing again. Just switch the venues. Derrick Rose, Jeremy Lin. No Kilpatrick.
Nope. Add Archie Goodwin into the mix.
Do you think he actually plays significant time today?
That's what I'm saying. Who knows what they'll do with that? I think, last 10-day contract they had in here was Quincy AC, and if I remember, he didn't play much the first few games, and then they picked a game to give him run, and he played well, so they started giving more run. I imagine they'll probably do this. That's what I'm going to say. They'll do the same thing with him. I don't think he's fantasy relevant in this game. Derrick Rose is an intriguing play, I think, on this slate. I think I like that play.
At home, too.
The other players in that price range, I think that's the game I want to play. And I think there's a lot of, you have Elf at 7.4, you have Schroeder at 6.4, and Hill at 6.3 on DraftKings, all in the same range. And I think Rose gets the bump just because of that game.
Makes sense. Looking at Clippers in Denver, do we know exactly who's out yet? I heard all 3 of the Clippers 3 were out, and then I heard it was just DeAndre and Blake.
Yeah, all I have is DeAndre and Blake. I have nothing about Chris Paul.
Okay, so Chris Paul is
Which is strange, I think. Yeah, as of right now, Chris Paul is playing, in my opinion. I have no news to say otherwise.
With Blake and DeAndre out, do you look at Chris Paul? Do you think
It's interesting. It's different. It's weird that they're not resting him as well, you know? So, um, yeah, I think you have to in this matchup. I mean, Denver gives it up to the guards. We've seen that all season long. They are number 2, I believe. Number 2 on FanDuel, number 5 on DraftKings this season, as far as DVP to point guards. And Chris Paul becomes the primary scorer on that team, I think, without Blake Griffin.
Yeah. I just think, I mean, his usage, not that it isn't already high, but it should just skyrocket, right? I can't imagine he's going to defer to Mo buckets, extremely often.
He's a playmaker, man. So I think it's going to come down to him whether or not they're competitive in this game, obviously. So he's in a good spot to do what he wants. And go from there. I think he's a good bet to bet on him doing what he wants.
So I kind of like Austin Rivers today. And I don't know. Part of my gut tells me that Chris Paul's not going to get full run today. I know they're playing him, but the fact that they're resting the other two, I don't know. My gut just tells me that they're probably... I have no evidence, so don't take my word for this, but my gut just tells me it's an Austin Rivers game.
Yeah, that's kind of how this has been all season long with these Clippers guards, between him and Felton and Redick and Crawford. You just kind of have to go with your gut. There's really no sharp play or logic that dictates who's going to go off on any given day. You can make the same case for Felton, in my opinion, as if you think Paul is going to be limited. Felton could be the guy, you know?
I agree. And then Jamal Murray, I think, is someone you have to look at as well. Jamal Murray's been getting some increased run.
Jamal Murray, I mean, he pretty much played the whole second half against Sacramento, was it? No.
Yep. Was it Sacramento? Last game they played. I think it was Sacramento.
No, Lakers.
That's right.
In that blowout against the Lakers, he played pretty much the whole second half. Played really well. Had 35 DraftKings points. If he's going to get over 25 minutes today at 4,900, I like him in this game. It's impossible to predict. So I think I stay away at 49,
4K
unless we see that he's going to get extra run.
4K on FanDuel, that was really nice.
Yeah, that is really, really nice.
So we're switching venues again here. We had Memphis and Atlanta the other day. In Memphis, now it's going to Atlanta. Atlanta kind of kicked their ass, so I expect Memphis to come out. And I know we said this last time, but I don't expect Memphis to get blown out again. So I like Conley, but I also like Schroeder.
Yeah, I was going to ask you your thoughts on Schroeder.
I actually think so. On DraftKings, the decision I think is a little easier. I think I like Schroeder more for a points to price ratio. On FanDuel, it's a little tougher. Schroeder is really, really priced up at 7,400. I think that's a fade for me.
Yeah, I think 7K is probably a fair price for Schroeder. So on DraftKings, he is definitely underpriced. Obviously, 40 points in each of the last 4. If you go back to his last 7, he has 30 points in each of the last 7. Or even if you go back to the last 10, I mean, his lowest score is 29.5. So establishing a floor for this team down the stretch here. I'm not a big fan of his game, but his fantasy game has been pretty solid, and on a short slate, I think it's him and Rose that you have to decide between.
On FanDuel, I think I go with Rose. I like Rose's scoring a little more, and for 600 less. It all depends on where he fits in my lineup. I can tell you I'm not going to start my lineup with Schroeder, so it'll kind of depend what pieces I have around him and go from there. If I can pay up to Schroeder, then I probably will, but I have no problem paying down to Rose.
Yeah, the more I look at it, I think Schroeder is probably the better play than Rose. I mean, we haven't seen Rose's upside in a while, man. It's been a while since we saw his upside, and we've seen Schroeder, like I said, 40 in each of the last 4. So,
however,
he just projects to be the better player. But again,
Porzingis is out.
Sometimes if you look at game logs, you get too caught up in it, and sometimes you really just you have to look at the matchup and you have to look at the game. We mentioned that table we said in the beginning, and Rose against Brooklyn and Schroeder against Memphis. Although Schroeder's been playing better, I think you can still make the case that Rose is the better play.
There's no Porzingis.
True, and there is no Porzingis.
So less usage, or more usage to go around, I should say. I don't think Lance Thomas exactly demands attention and usage, so keep in mind that.
And this is the first game without Porzingis that they've been without Brandon Jennings as well. I know that some of those games they've actually put Brandon Jennings alongside of Rose. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what they do here.
Rose over Lynn. That's tough. I think I do go Rose today over Lynn just because the lack of pieces around him. I think it's Rose and Melo, maybe Hernan Gomez today. That's about it. Maybe some Courtney Lee.
I still think Rose only for tournaments just because he's shown he can dud even in good spots. I think Lynn and Schroeder are, if you're playing cash at that price point, are the two guys I'm looking at, and I still don't trust Schroeder, so I think I would go Lynn.
Gotcha. Russell Westbrook, again, 13 and 13.5 on the two sites against Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
6-game slate. I don't think he's exactly a must-play, but the dude has just been on a tear recently. I think it's a bold call to fade him.
Usually is on a short slate. I will say that I think you can make the case for the top 5 price guys on DraftKings today. Whereas the last 5-game slate Tuesday, you couldn't really do that. So by what I'm saying is I think you can make the case, or even go top 7. You got Jokic, LeBron, Curry, Chris Paul, DeRozan, Carmelo. Now you can make a case for all of those guys.
True.
So if you're going Westbrook, you really can't go Jokic, LeBron, or Curry. You could maybe go Paul, DeRozan, or Carmelo with Westbrook, but what I'm saying is that I think there'll be enough ownership spread out that you can. It's easier to do today than it was Tuesday, but still, very bold call. Westbrook against Toronto, almost 60 last time they played. So I think you betting on 60 is an okay way to play it.
I think you can look at Corey Joseph as well for value. Obviously, I like targeting anyone that plays Westbrook, so you can look there. Steph Curry, Elfrid Payton. I actually lean Elf in this matchup, especially for Turner. I think Steph, I don't know how much of a cash game player Steph is right now. He seems to have too inconsistent of games. Elf is not really a cash game play either, but Elf has been absolutely balling as of late, and so I like Elf in this matchup against Steph Curry a little more.
Both tournament plays, though, for sure. Man, Elf has just been that guy this second half, man, that if you pick him on the right day, you are very, very happy camper. I unfortunately haven't been that happy camper much, so
yeah.
It's still tough to me. I think I do, like I said, because he's in the same price range as some of these other guys that I'm looking at. I could see having that guard spot being a stream spot throughout multiple lineups and maybe having one with Elf in it. Curry, I don't think I'm on today either. Just because if this game does blow out, I mean, we saw Charlotte just destroy Orlando. I mean, given that was without Vucevic, but still.
So, don't look anywhere else. Kyrie against Utah, I think you can look there for sure. 7,900 actually is a really depressed price on DraftKings. Mm-hmm. I actually really like Kyrie in that price range because if there's a position to target against Utah, I think it's point guard.
Yeah, I'm personally not going to pay up in that game for either LeBron or Kyrie. I still think I lean LeBron if I'm going to. But yeah, like you said, under 8K seems enticing.
Yeah, I can get behind that play for sure. And Shelvin Mack is out as well, so you can definitely target George Hill as well. George Hill against Kyrie defense. Definitely something you can do. I think Utah's going to have to play up in pace if they want to keep up with Cleveland. Shooting guard, I think Courtney Lee's safe today. Karis LeVert is still a tournament play. Obviously, he plays well. He's been playing well, but minutes are still spread around. There should be a little more minutes to spread around if they don't play Goodwin, but you never know with the Nets. That's tough. I don't like Foy. Oh, someone I didn't mention is Isaiah Whitehead. I don't know why, but my gut tells me this is an Isaiah game. And I think everybody's going to be on Karis LeVert because of his price. And I don't know. It's a gut feeling. Again, there's no data to back that up. It's just...
Yeah, I think everybody is going to be on Karis LeVert. That's an easy fade for me. I mean, 2 straight good games. He's shown streaky stretches all season. They've both been games where he shot high percentage from the field. Yeah, and I think last game he got an extra run without Kilpatrick. But they do play Dinwiddie and Whitehead at the shooting guard position. Now they have this Goodwin guy that they'll probably do the same with. I think the minutes will stay spread out.
Mike just asked, no Kilpatrick, who's starting at the 2? It should still be Foy. Kilpatrick didn't start anyway, so it'll just obviously be a different guy off the bench.
Right.
Will Barton and Gary Harris, definitely both plays I like. The only so Arthur, Gallo, and Chandler are out. Farida's playing. But Will Barton should receive significant run, as should Gary Harris. It's the only 2 and 3s they have. Jamal Murray will probably play a little bit of 2 with Jameer Nelson, but I see a lot of minutes for that entire backcourt today. Barton will have to play the 3. Barton will have to play the 3, so you're going to talk about the other 2 positions split between 3 guys.
Yeah, Barton is most definitely in play. I think you look at him and Gary Harris, that's a GPP cash pivot for sure in this game.
Can you go both?
But yeah, Barton, man, when he gets the minutes and he gets the usage, he's a ball hog on the floor. We've seen it his whole career. So he's got the ball and he's getting buckets. Watch out.
Can you go both? I have a lineup with both in
it. Can.
I like it.
Yeah, I think you can. I mean, they're both shooting guards on FanDuel, right?
Yes, sir.
So obviously you're limiting yourself from the rest of the field and the rest of these games, but I don't think that's a terrible way to go today. There's not much I like at this position anyway.
That's what I'm saying. I almost think those are safe plays because of the minutes. I just think there's so many minutes to go around between those 2. And I have a backcourt. Actually, one lineup I have, it's Westbrook, Murray, Barton, and Harris. Basically.
No, yeah, so
and then
you're right on the money, man.
So that's where
targeting the minutes.
Hardaway Jr. definitely in play. I think you can target Memphis's shooting guard position. You can also look at Tony Allen. I think I fade both of those guys personally. Again, if I'm going to, for that $5,600 price, I'm just going to target Will Barton and Gary Harris. But Hardaway Jr. is in a good spot, so I can see that. Someone asked, how about Redick tonight versus Denver? I think you can go to Redick. I think you can look at Crawford as well. But personally, I'm just going to target the minutes on Denver's side.
Yep, you can try and throw a dart there between those 4 guys, but just go with your gut. I mean, we have seen games where, they both go off. Shooting guards against Denver has been streaming spot all year long, so I really don't mind it at all.
Apparently, Wancho will start at the 3. I'm guessing, but that doesn't really concern me. Barton's still going to get his minutes, so I'm playing Barton.
Yeah, I still don't have that news about starting lineups. I think that's more of a speculation.
Even if that's the case, Barton's going to get his minutes. I'm not worried at all.
Yeah, no, I like Wancho too, though.
Yeah, you can definitely look there. DeRozan against OKC, I definitely can look at that. DeRozan has been balling as of late in terms of just scoring. He's been leading. Toronto, he's all they have, so definitely can look there. Oladipo, I think I fade today.
I like DeRozan's upside in this game. I don't love it. Price is nice, but so when you're looking at him in comparison to the other people in his price range, I think he sticks out to me. I don't know. I just, we said, questioning Paul, even though he's in a good spot. I would easily lean him if there wasn't any news on this Clippers team, but I think I'd safely go DeRozan over Melo for $200.
Okay. Norman Powell, if Carroll is out, you can look at Klay Thompson against Orlando. Definitely a good spot at home. You can look there for 7K. Evan Fournier, I think you can make an argument to play that, but again, at that price range, I'm going to play Barton or Harris.
Right.
Rodney Hood against Cleveland, I think that could be a sneaky play, especially under 5K. Cleveland gives it up to shooting guards. So if Hood gets his minutes, which he should.
Did Hood play last game? I don't think he played last game.
Let me check.
Yeah, I have him listed as questionable with that same knee soreness.
Yeah, so if he plays, if he plays, it's a good matchup. But again, you're worried about minutes. Definitely a tournament play. J.R. Smith's minutes have been increasing. I think you can look there, and Iman Shumpert. You can kind of that's like the Clipper situation. Pick your poison.
Yeah, again, I'm not really going after Utah on a short slate, I don't think.
You mentioned Carmelo. I think with no Porzingis, Melo's a safe play. Well, safer. I don't know if he's a cash play, but he is safer.
Yeah. So Melo, he's played well against Brooklyn in his career. Not awesome. I don't have the stats in front of me, but He had 27 in the last game they played, and it was taking pretty much all the shots, if I recall correctly. It seemed like he was down the stretch there, just shooting the ball. Same thing I said with Rose about even if you don't like the play, you have to like the game, and he is going to be, like you said, one of the premier players as far as minutes and usage in this game.
Yeah, Rondae Hollis-Jefferson also in a good spot. I like him today. Going up against whether he's a power forward or small forward, neither matchup worries me. Lance Thomas could be a punt. He's obviously going to get the start if I'm not mistaken. Bazemore against Memphis.
Yeah, he will.
Bazemore against Memphis. I don't know if I look at. I do like Vince Carter today though. We talk about Atlanta giving it up to small forwards. I think Vince Carter's punt worthy. Cephalosha's punt worthy. DeMar Carroll.
Vince Carter's somewhat willing this team right now.
That's what I'm saying.
They're trying to find a guy.
They got a spark since he's entered that starting lineup.
Yeah, I'd go punt worthy. I don't necessarily love it. So would you play Vince Carter over Norman Powell? I think I would.
Yes, I would.
Just because minutes are safer, matchup is a little bit better.
DeMar Carroll is still a game time decision for what it's worth, so look at that. I don't look at Roberson. I don't look at Tucker. I don't look at McDermott. Iggy and Barnes, I don't know where to go with that situation yet.
Yeah, so they went with Barnes on the stretch last game in the close game. So obviously, if the game's close, I think Barnes is getting some extra run. Maybe it was matchup dependent. I could totally see that. And McCaw, obviously, and Iggy, I guess, against Covington wasn't really a good matchup for them. I think Barnes kind of won out.
Yeah.
So in this game against
Orlando,
Terrence Ross, I don't know that Barnes would be the guy if this game stays close.
It'll be interesting, and they could even, if they decide to go small and put Draymond on Vooch, I mean, you could probably make the case for Iggy and Barnes, putting Barnes on Aaron Gordon. I could see that matchup.
Yeah, I could see that matchup too. And I think they definitely will go small at some point during the game. And get Vooch and Draymond together. But this is a tricky game, and this is the game I think that you want to have pieces of. And the fact that it is going to be a game you want to have pieces of, and it is a tricky game to find plays from. I mean, we have Golden State where all of their big four are 7K and above, right?
Yep.
Well, I guess their big three are 7K and above, and then you have Orlando, whose entire starting lineup is pretty much 7K and below.
Yeah, I think I can look at Terrence Ross today, actually. And I can look at Aaron Gordon. I can look at both those guys. Golden State hasn't played great defense this year anywhere. So definitely look there. LeBron James, you mentioned higher price. I think if I'm going to pay up, I find a way to get to Westbrook, but I think you can make the argument for a LeBron-Kyrie stack if you want to. You could definitely look at Gordon Hayward today. I think Gordon Hayward has to be pretty involved, especially if Rodney Hood is out, if Utah, wants a chance to win. And then punt-worthy is Joe Johnson, man.
Yep. I mentioned it yesterday. I thought Joe Johnson was in a good spot. I just didn't pull the trigger. His price is the same as long as Derek Favors is out. I think this is a good matchup for him.
Yeah.
Getting upwards of 30 minutes a game at this spot, and they really do need him down the stretch.
You know what? I definitely. So real quick, someone asked why can't Melo be a cash play? I mean, he can be, but he's still Melo. Remember that. And Melo can get you 50, and Melo can get you 5. If Melo decides he doesn't want to play, then he's not going to play, and all of a sudden you're screwed. So that's kind of why I say he is a cash play because of minutes and usage, but he's still Melo.
I don't know about 5, but what he's trying to say is when you look at, so whenever you're trying to consider someone to be a cash player, right?
You're looking for a safe floor.
Right. If you don't watch basketball, you don't play, NBA DFS every day, it's hard to go off the top of your head oh, that guy's definitely not a cash play. Derrick Rose, off the top of my head, is definitely not a cash play. But if you don't watch, you go in, you look at what they've done, you look at what their minutes are, you look at what their matchup is, and you look at what they've done with those minutes in recent stretches. So looking at Melo, he's played significant minutes over the last 10 games, but he has produced a low of 20 fantasy points and a high of 49 fantasy points. That range of outcomes does not say he's a cash play.
Exactly. And if he gets you 20, that's not even close to value. That's 3 times value. So
you're looking for someone that's safely going to give you a nice floor.
I look for 4.5 to 5.5 as a safe floor for cash play. So that's the reason I say Melo is not my favorite cash play. You can make the argument because of the minutes.
And the matchup.
I made the comment that I would, if I'm paying up for LeBron, I'd pay up for Westbrook, but I actually would pay up for Jokic. I like Jokic today a lot, especially with all these big guys out for Denver and all the big guys out for LA. He's going to get Mo Spates and Brandon Bass. So I fire up Jokic. I think he's my favorite. I think he's my favorite high price guy. I actually think I could make the argument for Jokic over Westbrook today.
See, my thing with Jokic is if this game does blow out, I am somewhat concerned that they just split time, him and Plumlee. With Fareed being back, I think that if Fareed is out, I feel you on Jokic. It's because they're down to 3 guys in the front court, being Juancho, Jokic, and Plumlee.
And Fareed.
They really don't have any other 4.
Fareed.
So,
Fareed.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If Fareed is out,
he's playing.
So if Fareed is playing, if he's listed as probable, but if he plays, I think you could easily see Fareed and Juancho split the 4 and Jokic and Plumlee split the 3 if this game blows out. Now, I don't really think that will happen. I really do think that. I'd like to think that this game stays close, or at least close enough to see a full allotment of minutes for Jokic. It kind of has to be a Lakers game where it's like a blowout from the beginning for them to split time, in my opinion.
Makes sense. Blake Griffin, obviously out. Fareed. I have news that Fareed is playing.
Okay, cool.
So that's why I say that. Fareed at 4K on DraftKings is very enticing, especially with all the other guys out. So you can look there. 5,500 on FanDuel. I don't think I'd go there. Juancho definitely in play at that price range. Okay, so now you have to make the decision, Fareed or Juancho on DraftKings. They're about the same price.
I think I'm going to go Juancho. I mean, just because Fareed has been out for close to 2 weeks now.
I agree.
And it just makes more sense for them to run Juancho bigger minutes.
I agree.
But Denver rotations making sense.
Yeah, it's
usually doesn't go in the same conversation, same sentence.
It's trying to predict Jason Kidd's rotation. Do you look at Maurice Spates or Brandon Bass as a punt? I think I look at Maurice. I don't even touch Brandon Bass. No, thank you.
Spates, I still think he's not going to play more than 25 minutes today. So if you think he's just going to jump into Blake Griffin's role, I mean, we saw Blake Griffin out for 2 weeks, or no, longer than that, like
And Spates didn't
6 weeks this season. Spates wasn't playing 30 minutes a night. You know, they couldn't figure out what they wanted to do at power forward. They had Mbah Mute in there. They played Brendan Bass some. So if you think Spates is gonna check in and play 30 minutes, you're wrong. I think he's going to see an increased amount of minutes, and this is a good matchup for him. I'm not really considering Bass. Yeah, I know minimum salary, but
I don't look at Bass at all. So you don't. So you think Spates no higher than 30 minutes?
no higher than 25.
Interesting. Zach Randolph.
He can definitely put it up though in 25 at 3,300. It's a solid play.
Yeah, Zach Randolph versus Ilyasova. I think you can make the case for Randolph. He played well against them last time. Jermichael Green. I don't think I'd rather play Randolph. Surge against OKC. I know it is in Toronto, but you can look there.
Yeah, so Surge and Randolph, man, have been underperforming, and because of that, their prices are somewhat lowest we've seen from them all season. So that is intriguing to find guys underpriced in okay matchups. I think Ibaka's in a pretty good matchup, underpriced at 59. I think Randolph's is an okay matchup at 54. Now, because they've been underperforming, I don't want to trust my money with it, you know. Hey, up by 1. Sorry, just a little bit distracted. Although I think I like Gordon sandwiched in between them two at 56.
Someone said Randolph at 8.9 points versus Atlanta. I thought he played better than
Last
that.
game, yeah, he didn't have a good game last game. He's
Oh, you're right. Oh,
still though.
I thought he had
That was not really a game that you look at. I mean, Randolph's an old dude, and it was a blowout, so he only played 18 minutes.
My apologies. I was looking at a different game. Rodney Hood. People on the chat are saying he's out, so that could be news. I don't have confirmation yet, but that obviously, again, I just like Gordon Hayward a little more. Draymond Green, I love tonight. I think Draymond is probably my favorite Warrior to play. I have him in my lineup.
Okay.
Aaron Gordon, I also look there. Again, Golden State's defense not great this year. So I look at Aaron Gordon, and then I stay away from that entire Utah-Cleveland power forward situation.
Yeah, I like Joe Johnson. I mean, obviously he's not power forward eligible, but he'll be playing power forward.
Yeah.
As far as Golden State, man, so this is where I'm stuck, is this game. So I like Elf. I don't like Fournier. I don't really like Terrence Ross. I like Gordon, I like Vooch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then on Golden State, I think you can make the case for all of the big three, but you can probably only afford one if you're going Westbrook.
Yep.
So you said Draymond. I'm still torn. I think I'm going to try to do Curry and then go to Draymond if I can't. But if you look at DVP, I think everything is somewhat pointing toward Steph, I think. Let me make sure.
I lean Draymond over anyone else in this game. From a points to price ratio.
Last 10. Yeah, but you have to factor no Vooch. So. It's going to be interesting. I think I want to have one of those guys though, for sure.
I like a game stack there as well. My games to target are the Clippers in Denver, particularly the Denver side, and a couple pieces from that Warriors-Orlando game. Brook Lopez, Guillermo Hernan-Gomez, both of them are in good matchups. Brook Lopez, if I'm not mistaken, played well last time. He was just raining down threes.
Yep. You can make the case that will happen again.
35 points, yeah. So that's right at 5 times value for what he is priced at today. I look there. Guillermo you can look at, especially with no Kristaps.
Hernan Gomez owns the Nets, man. He is averaging 30 points against the Nets in 18 minutes on 3 games.
Yes.
So that is a little under 2 fantasy points a minute.
So definitely
it's
look
pretty
there.
Unreal.
Mason Plumlee, I think you look at as well, of course, with the Denver front court depleted. I don't consider him a lock with Faried playing, but definitely can look there. Marcus Saul against Atlanta, you definitely can look there. Dwight Howard, I'm not touching. Memphis has been unreal versus centers the last. Over the season, they're the number 1 or 2 ranked team in the league, and over the last 5, they've been just absolutely shutting centers down. So I stay
Who's
with
this?
Memphis.
Yeah, Marcus Saul.
Jonas Valanciunas, I don't know if I play him today. Steven Adams, I don't think I'd play. Zaza, I'm not going to touch. Vucevic, I can look at, and then Gobert is another one I look at.
Yeah, I think I'm locked into Willie Hernangomez against the Nets.
Okay. I agree. I can definitely agree with that call.
I think I'm going to play him over Melo in this game, and I'm considering Rose as well. And then I want to see who do you think is going to get the extra minutes in this front court besides Hernangomez? Are they going to there's still no Noah. Are they going to slide Carmelo to the 4? And slide Carmelo to the 4 and play Thomas a lot at the 3? Perhaps we see some extra Kyle Quinn, dare I say.
Yeah, it's a possibility.
But that's what I think. There's going to be some value there. I think that's an intriguing place to go for value, other than this Clippers situation, because I don't necessarily love that value.
Derek Favors and Rodney Hood are both out for what it's worth.
Okay, so instead of Rodney Hood, I think obviously going after Cleveland shooting guards, Joe Ingles is obviously now in play.
Yep.
Alec Burks, I guess, is in play.
Yep. So Burks, Ingles, and Johnson, I think, are all in play.
Obviously, I think I lean Ingles today.
Okay.
I like that, actually. Guard and forward eligible on DraftKings. Makes it a little easier to build some lineups.
Around, yeah. All right.
It's going to be a good game here down the stretch.
Yeah. So, of course, you see the Slack group still going off. Quite a few messages since we started the show. Yeah, man.
I want to talk value again, just because I think it's a very important part of this slate. Just to kind of spark notes the value. Again, biggest thing here with value, Denver. I'll talk about Denver again.
Yep. So I got Barton. My value is Barton, Wancho, and I don't really consider Gary Harris value. I think he's a little too overpriced for value, but I do think he's fairly priced. I would play Harris. Faried on DraftKings is value at 4K. Am I missing anyone?
So I'm just talking about injuries. So
Jamal Murray.
Wilson Chandler out, Danilo Gallinari out, Darrell Arthur out. Obviously, it's 2 power forwards and a small forward. So that leaves them with Faried and Wancho at power forward, and Wancho and Barton at small forward. So for that reason, that's all value opened up. And then on the other side of the game, obviously, we talked about Griffin and Jordan being out. Their backup center is the intriguing thing to me, because, who do you think they run out center?
That's why I say Draymond Green. I like Draymond the best in this game.
No, I meant the Clippers.
Oh, the Clippers. I thought you said the Warriors.
Without Jordan, I think Spates is really their only guy that can play center.
I agree. He could see more than 25 minutes.
Right. For that reason, I'm starting to think, that, of course, was without Blake Griffin, but without Blake and DeAndre.
He's got to play more.
They might have to.
Yeah, I think you could see 30 minutes from Spates today.
They have Bryce Johnson on the depth chart, but I'm pretty sure Bryce is still
lingering.
Hurt.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's still lingering hurt. So
that's interesting to look for. If
The slate has so much value. Expect to see quite a few stars and scrubs lineups. I think it's a safe assumption at this point.
Right, but because there's all this value, like there's easily 10 guys that are going to see an increase in minutes from their average today, which would equal value due to injuries and resting people. And we're going to see this going forward with this slate. So there's going to be easily 10 guys. So picking the 3 is going to be key on this slate. But for that reason, picking the 3 is not a safe bet. Does that make sense? Like, it's going to be really tough to pick 3 out of 10. And you could be really confident in those 3, and then the other 3 go off, or the other 3 other guys are the guys that you should have had. So that's why I'm not super high on this slate. But it's going to be fun building lineups, at least.
Yeah, I'm going to play light again. I don't think I'm going to play the main heavily. Maybe one lineup again, just throw it in a GPP and hope for the best. But I'm going to definitely target it. I know there's two express slates or condensed slates, so I'll be targeting there.
If you're going to 731, Memphis, Atlanta, Brooklyn, New York, I would just play 6 guys from that Brooklyn, New York game and find one on each side of the Memphis, Atlanta. That's how I would go at that. If you're playing this late slate, the 9 o'clock one, it's definitely going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, there's so much value. So, all right, guys. Well, as always, if you guys are interested in the Slack group, stars and scrubs. Scrubs considered players under 4.5 or so, and stars over 8 or 9. Yes. And then
on DraftKings, yeah.
And then do I prefer to spend $13.5 for Westbrook or saving $3,400 and going Steph? If I'm going to pay up to Steph, I'm going to go up to Westbrook. I like Westbrook a lot more than I like Steph today. But as always, if you guys are interested in joining the Slack group, as you see here, and getting access to our projected fantasy point totals, our projections for players, both DraftKings, FanDuel, all that good stuff, then hit that link in the description. It'll take you to PayPal. You get a free 7-day trial to try everything out. If you don't enjoy it, no harm, no foul. Just cancel before the 7 days are up. If you enjoy it after that, it's $9.99 a month. So less than 33 cents a day, or right around 33 cents a day. And always remember, if you guys aren't comfortable on a slate, don't spend big. And as you guys are seeing every single night now, expect the unexpected, man. That's why I put more emphasis on breaking down the slates than playing the main. Just because there's so much news. Bledsoe's now out for the year. You're seeing all this stuff with the Kings. Denver's unpredictable. You don't know who's going to play, how much. So it's just a lot of things to look at. So that's why I say, bankroll management is key. Don't lose all your money right now. You have baseball coming soon. Baseball is a ton more predictable than basketball. Lineups are announced way before lock. So look forward to baseball.
Yeah, but like I said at the top when we were talking about Westbrook, I think you can make the case for a lot of these other guys to pay up for. For the example, like you could have Carmelo and Chris Paul in your lineup for the same price as Westbrook and a value guy. Normally, that would be not ideal. Like normally, you would want to have Westbrook or Paul and Carmelo over Westbrook and say Joe Johnson. But today, with the value getting big minutes, it's seemingly more ideal.
Yeah. So.
Does that make sense?
I see what you're saying. Well, all right, guys. Good luck today. We will talk to you in Slack and enjoy the NCAA tournament.